for being here on this special day, not only for Dillan, but for his family. Thank Ms. Paul, who's representing administration, for being here. Thank you for the support of the athletic program. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, thank you. Thank you for your support over the last 4 years. I know you had a choice in where Dillan went to school. We thank you for entrusting us and sending Dillan here. So thank you very much for that. I'll be brief in my remarks, and I'll turn it over to Coach. Wisconsin's getting a great one. Probably one of the most humble athletes to walk down these hallways, and personally my favorite type of athlete. Humble, like I said, humble to, I don't want to say to a fault, but if I dare anybody to find me a picture of this guy celebrating a sack, or this guy celebrating a tackle for a loss, or this guy celebrating a pick, you just don't see it. He just goes about his business and does his work, and that's a reflection of you, the parents, for raising him the right way. In my humble opinion, thank you for what you have done, not only for the football program, for the wrestling program, for the school, and the way you represent yourself and the way you walk down the hallways. I hope that you guys back here have learned something from him and how he goes about and takes care of his business the right way. So thank you. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to you. Thank you again for everything. I'll turn it over to Coach.
All right, well, I'm just going to echo some of the same sentiments that Coach OB did. Obviously, Dillan, you know, the type of person you are, I'm sure you have already, but you know, now's a great time, and hopefully you did this morning when you made things official, is thanking your parents, all right? And you know, they raised a great one. And you know, Coach Sharp, who was the head coach before me, he always had the comment that like our jobs here at Joliet Catholic as coaches, as teachers, was always an easy job because of the parents that we have that send their kids to school here. And you know, obviously dealing with Dillan, you know, 4 years, it seems like, man, these 4 years have gone by extremely fast when it comes to Dillan and his career here. And you know, I haven't quite got to working on like a depth chart for next year, and I'm going to hold off on the defensive one for a while now, because for the last 3.5 years there was always a name that was written in pen in that defensive tackle spot that we're going to miss. But you know, a lot of what you're experiencing today is a reflection of your parents. So just make sure, whether it's, you know, I won't make you do it now, but you know, later after you're done and the ceremony's over, just make sure you thank them for everything that they've done, and not just for you, but your siblings as well, right? Your sister, your 2 brothers, you know, who couldn't be here today, as they're, you know, you're kind of following in their footsteps of what they've accomplished and what they're doing, and you're just kind of the next one to see it through. So, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, thank you very much for everything that you've done. And I think with Dillan, you know, we have Dillan here in school, walking these halls on the wrestling mat for just a few short months left. But I think once Dillan graduates, I think he'll go down as probably one of the most decorated athletes that have walked the halls here at JCA. You know, I won't get into all stats and things right now, you know, but Dillan is first team All-State for numerous publications. He's first team All-Area, he's Chicagoland All-Area teams, he's multiple publications, Defensive Player of the Year. So like, all those accolades, they're good and great. Those are individual accomplishments that, you know, kind of prove what type of player that Dillan was, which we saw, you know, over the last 4 years, game in, game out. He's also a 2021 state champion in football, 2023 state runner-up. He will be going, some unfinished business left, right? You know, he'll be going for his 4th state championship, individual state championship in wrestling. He's a state championship wrestler from a team standpoint, also another runner-up, and like I said before, going for a 4th one that obviously is a record that only a few people have throughout the state. So obviously his accomplishments on the field are many. And he's left a legacy on the football field and on the wrestling mat that, you know, will stay in the record books here at Joliet Catholic for a very long time. So he's definitely left his mark in the sports world here. But I think the biggest thing from my standpoint, and one of the things that makes me most proud as a coach, is just the person that he is, and some of the things that Coach OB had talked about earlier. Especially in a day and age like today is, where there's a lot of self-promotion, there's a lot of attention seeking that comes in a lot of different forms. This day and age, it's not who Dillan is. I think Dillan was probably a little bit unsure of walking in, by himself right now and getting that kind of attention. Just the humility, just the humility that he carries himself with every single day. And like OB said, whether it was getting a sack in the state championship game, whether it's getting a pin to win a state title in wrestling, he doesn't get too high, he doesn't get too low, he's just himself. And he carries himself with so much humility that in the recruiting process in football, and the coaches that I dealt with, early on it was kind of hard for those coaches maybe to get a read on him, because he was different from a lot of kids these days who seek that attention, seek that love, and that's not really who Dillan was, because he's just a genuine person. And that carries over to his work ethic. I've never seen a guy work harder. I know Coach Rudy can attest to that in the weight room. I'm sure the wrestling coaches and his teammates here can attest to it. His work ethic on the wrestling mat, in the practice room, I know seeing it on the football field is unmatched. It's unmatched. Sometimes kids, when they get the attention, when they get to Division I status, kind of go through the motions because they're talented enough to be able to do that. Dillan never rested on those laurels. It only caused him to work harder through his humility and his character. I had a reporter when they were talking about like Defensive Player of the Year, a guy from the Herald News, was asking me if there was any character issues with Dillan. And do you ever have any issues in school, this and that? I don't know. Do you ever get a detention? I don't think you ever got a detention. All right. He's an academic all-state. No issues in the classroom. It's like, well, was there ever a time where like you were, upset with something Dillan did, and the only thing I could think of was, I don't know, we were in the playoffs this past year. They got a text from Dillan that said he couldn't practice that day. And obviously we're in the playoffs, and one of your best players can't practice. Like, what do you mean you can't practice? It's like, Coach, I got a root canal today. So I was pissed for about 30 seconds. And I'm like, well, at the end of the day, I think we're going to be all right. As long as Dillan can play on Friday or Saturday that week, we're going to be all right. And then just kind of one final story that I've told to a couple reporters when asked about Dillan is we were playing Morris. All right, so Dillan's obviously you can tell he's a no-nonsense, all-business type person. So we get to Morris, and sometimes when you're on the road, obviously I'm anxious as it is, for a quarterfinal game. We're on the road against a rival in a tough place to play. And we get off the bus, we're 2 hours, before the game, so all the kids and whatever they're wearing, their pajamas and stuff, they go onto the field, they're throwing footballs around, and they're doing all this stuff. And in my mind, I'm sitting there watching, and I'm glad our guys are relaxed, but are they focused? Are they in tune? Because they're high school kids being high school kids. And I'm on edge, and I'm walking back and forth from the field to the locker room, which is kind of a little bit of a walk. And behind the building is it's a practice field where the Morris youth team plays. And I'm walking around, and again, it's about 2 hours or an hour and 45 before kickoff. And I come around the corner, and there's a 5-man sled on that practice field. And what are you doing? He's going to work. He's going to work. He's on his knees, no pads, no nothing. He might have had headphones on. And if I did, I thought about taking a video or a picture, but I thought if you saw me, you'd think it was kind of creepy or whatever. But I just wanted it because, it's ingrained in my mind of just the type of person he was, or he is no nonsense, all business. My anxiety kind of went by the wayside when I saw that moment because I know Dillan was locked in. Dillan was locked in as a leader, as a captain. I know everybody else would fall into place. Dillan just going to town, working his warm-up, getting loose, trying to break that sweat, working his hand fighting, all that stuff that makes him a really good football player. In those moments, that's what's got him to this point. It's not the sack. It's not, the pin. It's all those little moments that nobody sees where he's working to become better. That's what gets him to this point. And I know in the future, whether it's from an academic standpoint, whether it's football, whether it's wrestling, or when you get out, start a career, that humility and that work ethic stays inside of you, you're gonna be successful in everything that you do. So, congratulations, Dylan. All right, Coach, you got anything? No?
Well, you and OB covered about as much as I could say, but Dylan, talking about being with somebody for a long time. 7th grade, he walked in my gym, Eric brings him in, I'm thinking, who's this guy? And then, yeah, I don't know if I heard you say 5 words yet. Anyway, and whatever Coach said is exactly how he is. That's how he carried himself in the gym. And then 7th grade, never questioned why he was doing the lifts that he was doing. He just worked. He said, okay, Coach, what's next? That's all he did. What's next? He went from one thing to the next. He never complained about anything, no matter how tough the training was in the winter, in the back warehouse. Never complained. He always led. First guy to be where he's supposed to be. And then when I started seeing the talent, and I called these guys, I said, you should see this kid I got. He's 7th grade. I said, he's stronger than the seniors we got. You know, and then his 2 brothers walk in. I said, holy Christ. And Eric told me I got 2 other kids. I said, well, bring them here. They walked up looking, holy Christ, what the hell? And I thought you would be about 6'5", but you don't need that. You don't need that height. You know what I mean? Because all that work that he does is just crazy. What Josh talked about, that sled, every time we had a game, I'm looking for Dylan. He's behind the goal post, punching the back, punching the post. Am I right?
Yeah.
He was, and that's what and he's sweating. I'm thinking, holy Christ, you're going to be done before the game starts. That was his warm-up. Just like Josh said too, you ain't going to find a better kid than this guy right here. Love him to death. I'm going to miss him. Because, you know, like I said, since 7th grade, you better visit.
I will.
You know, but you know, it's just a testament to him sitting here alone here is a testament of all the work he's done, and the classroom is a huge thing. Remember that, guys, classroom. That's part of being in high school, part of being a man, and he's got that all in one package. So congratulations, Dylan. Congratulations to you guys, parents. I told you, Eric, what a great family you've raised, and your mom. And you, Erica.
All right, Dylan, I know this is probably eating you up inside from getting all this attention, so with all that said, let's give Dylan one. I know he's already made it official, but if you want to take some pics of him signing away or whatever. All good? Yep. All right.
For more information, please visit our website.